check out that buff dude over there with the orange skin. He's been chilling on Mars for a hot minute, which is why he looks like he used the wrong shade of self-tan. You see, all those carotenoids in carrots, sweet potatoes, bell peppers, tomatoes, and pumpkins are protecting him from those UV rays. The more he eats, the more orange he gets. And as for his sturdiness, it's all about that Martian gravity. The gravity here makes us perceive our weight differently. And if you want to be a boss on Mars, you gotta eat heavily. Like, if a person weighs 150 pounds on Earth, it feels like no more than 55 pounds on Mars. So, overeating can help shorten that gravity-to-weight gap. Mercury is a whole different thing. It's hotter than Georgia asphalt during the day, but colder than Elsa's castle at night. You gotta be made of metal with a high melting point to be able to survive here. But for us regular humans, we'd be toast. Literally. Even though Mercury's the closest planet to the Sun, Venus is still the hottest one. Life on Venus, more like life on the Sun's evil twin. The temperature here typically hovers around 870 degrees Fahrenheit on average. Surviving at the boiling point of water, or in the extreme heat of Venus, is a challenge for most earthly species. Only a select few can endure boiling hot temperatures. Others rush to Starbucks to grab an iced latte with the first beams of the spring sun. So no human being can really evolve enough to survive on Venus. The only creatures that could thrive there are probably tardigrades and those weirdos who put hot sauce on everything. You wonder what tardigrades are? Well, those are minuscule and adorable caterpillar-like creatures that possess remarkable durability. They can endure boiling water, the depths of a sea trench, and the frigid, lightless void of space. Recently, tardigrades were included in a scientific study aboard a spacecraft that unfortunately crashed on the moon. Scientists speculate that the tardigrades may have survived the impact. Hey, would you like to turn into this creature and live on Venus? We're done with terrestrial planets. Let's move on to gas giants. Now look at this dude from Saturn. He's got flippers and not arms. He's got small holes with no external ear flaps instead of regular ears. Most of this gas giant is colder than your ex's heart, as the temperature is about minus 220 F. You can't walk on it, but you can turn into a snowball or an ice crystal if you're feeling frisky. Things are quite similar on Jupiter, so probably turning into a seal and chilling there is not that bad of an idea. At least you can live there rent-free. And don't even get me started on Neptune and Uranus. These guys are ice giants with no solid surface, so those sharp-clawed dudes you see in movies? Yeah, they don't exist. Plus, these two ain't exactly hospitable to life. I'll stick to my sweet potatoes on Mars. Thank you very much.
Wow, you're zipping through space in a large ship as big as 3 New York City Central Parks. There's a lot of commotion going on. No, it's not some alien invading the spaceship. It's a very important day. The date is January 22nd, 2700. You've just been born outside of the Earth's atmosphere. Happy birthday! There's a medical team attending to everything. Futuristic gadgets help out with every aspect. And the view from the giant spherical glass ship is nothing but the incredible vastness of space. You can't even see Earth anymore. The spaceship is flying to a new destination millions of miles away. ETA on reaching that new host planet? Decades. Fast forward a bit. You're 25 years old, and this spaceship's the only home you've ever known. So far. You've learned all the ins and outs of the ship. You start your day in your dorm, which has all the essentials: a small compact bathroom, a mini kitchen, a bunk bed, and a magnificent view of the stars and planet outside the ship's reinforced glass. And you never need to worry about space radiation. The ship has an everlasting magnetic shield that reflects space radiation, so it doesn't seep its way onto the ship. Otherwise, there'd be big problems. The ship was designed to have artificial gravity. Astronauts normally lose 1 to 2% of their bone density every month they're up in space, since they're just floating around all the time. But now, I mean in the future, in deep space travel, they're able to solve this problem. You make your way out of your dorm and see a wave of fellow crew members making their way to work. They're all gliding through on their advanced mini hoverboards, and everyone's wearing different colors, a space-age uniform. Yours is blue, so you hop on your board and join the blue wave. You get to the underpass of the space transport and begin your work. As an engineer on board, your job is super important, maintaining the ship and keeping it running. But something's wrong. Numbers are flashing all over the panels, and the dreaded red light won't stop blinking. You alert your coworkers, but they don't know what's happening either. Quick, you keep checking the logs and all the complicated equations, but nothing adds up. Panic starts to spread throughout the ship. The hair on your arms is standing on end. You try to click on as many buttons and switches as you can. The buzzing keeps getting louder and louder. The light is flashing brighter. Some of your colleagues make a break for it, and you're all alone in the red room. Suddenly, finally, your supervisor rushes down to help. After a while, the two of you figure it out. Whew, that was close. You still have a lot to learn about managing the ship. Since your early years, you were assigned to work as an engineer. You were great at physics, chemistry, math, all those sciencey things. It's just another day in the office. But on this ship, you may make captain one day. After work, you get a call from your friends wanting to hang out. And when I say call, I mean a phoneless device that lets you communicate with anyone while seeing all their info through a hologram projection that only you can see. You can also use it to listen to old tunes from Earth. Pop music has now become classical music, and movies are now 3D projections of your own imagination. You make your way out of the underpass and go up to the Space Plaza. That's where everyone hangs out when they have time off. Some cafes, restaurants, a barber shop, even an ice cream parlor. You've never hung out anywhere else. The space transport is essentially a small city which has all the important things society needs. That includes a biosphere full of animals and plants from different climates on Earth. Many tropical forests, many deserts, many rainforests, you name it. The biologists on board make sure to keep it all healthy so you feel like you're at home. Not that you've ever set foot on Earth. You enter the wild savanna and see some gazelles galloping around. A few wildebeest seem to be rummaging around, and a small pack of lions are on the prowl. In the jungle, you feel the humidity and the thick leaves and bushes all around. Some mountain gorillas are playing, and there are little tree frogs here and there. And lurking in the trees, making its way down for a sip of water, is a jaguar. Over in the dry desert, you see some roaming camels, a little rattlesnake slithering its way out of the heat, and some little scorpions crawling around in the sand. You learned a whole lot of biology these last 25 years. You know all about Earth, but you've never been there. Weird. After the tour of nature's habitats, you hear an announcement on the PA. It's the captain. The new planet is hours away, earlier than anticipated. Everyone assume positions for landing. Everyone on the ship rushes to their dormitories, except the key crew members needed to run the ship. You strap into your bunk bed that turns into a seat with fancy interstellar seatbelts. You look out your window and see a blue dot in the distance. It gets bigger and bigger, and it looks a whole lot like Earth, from far away at least. That didn't take all that long, only 25 years. Wonder what's going under the hood of that spaceship. You look back at your life in space, knowing this first part of it is coming to an end. It's kind of like living at the South Pole. At the bottom of the world lives a small community of scientists who work between winter and summer doing all kinds of research, from climate and geology to meteorology and astronomy. Their lives must be similar to living here in outer space. They have their own bunkers, scientific labs, and even recreational rooms for sports and music. The nature on the planet you're approaching is unlike anything on Earth. Tropical trees soaring higher than the highest skyscrapers. Oceans that are so wild, there are hurricanes that last for years, just roaming about. The pilot announces the landing. It's all good. Time to get to work. You unstrap yourself and head outside to see the new planet for yourself. Walking on land feels like arriving on a new planet. The humidity is thick and the wind is warm. The ship landed on the tropical side of the planet, where studies show is the best place to begin a brand new settlement. It's not going to be easy. Humans usually begin new settlements next to lakes and rivers. Think of the Mesopotamians, the ancient Egyptians, the Aztecs. The list is endless. They began as small settlements until they grew to be fully functioning mega-civilizations. By trading and exploring, they were able to advance their technology, learn new languages, and discover awesome cooking recipes. Hey, I could go for some pasta and sushi right about now. According to scientists, being born in space could alter the way humans look. Human heads could be bigger within thousands of generations. Who knows? There's no way to simulate it on Earth. We can even have different new skin colors, since we would need more melanin, that pigment stuff that protects us from sun radiation. Being closer to the sun or any hot burning mass of fire might mean we'd produce more or different kinds of melanin to protect us. We might turn dark brown, purple, gray, or even green. We'd have to wait a couple of million years to find out. And with no gravity, humans would have to get used to having a lower bone density, kind of like birds have. That means we'd probably be weaker than our old Earth human cells and have some slightly odd physical things going on. Gravity is essential for our balance, and mobility is one of the key factors for human survival. So, without gravity, we'd most likely have exoskeleton suits for walking and running, or taking out the trash. Now, nothing like this is going to happen for a very long time. They're still brainstorming how to bring someone into this world, or out of this world. Technically speaking, outer space is considered to be 62 miles above sea level from any continent on the world. Beyond that, endless possibilities. Well, let's go to Antarctica. Come on, you've got time. Remember to dress warm. Here we are, in the middle of endless snow-white plains and ice. The temperature in some places drops to a face-freezing minus 136 degrees Fahrenheit. It's so cold that if you throw hot water out of a mug, it will most likely land in the form of an icicle. But this cold is hot compared to the absolute zero definition. Scientists measure it on the Kelvin scale, where 0 is the lowest point. And that's why there is nothing colder than this temperature. All objects consist of atoms and molecules. When the temperature of any object rises, its molecules move quickly and chaotically, producing kinetic energy. If the temperature of an object drops, its molecules slow down in motion, and their energy decreases. So, absolute zero is when the particles stop altogether. There's no movement, which means it's impossible to make it colder. 0 Kelvin is equal to minus 459 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's like 3 times colder than in Antarctica. So, imagine that scientists created a vacuum room and filled it with gas at absolute zero. What happens if a human walks in there? I can't imagine that this turns out well, so let's send Bob in there. But don't worry, he's a crash test dummy. A little background first. When a hot object comes into contact with a cold one, its molecules exchange energy. Fast-moving particles transfer their energy to slower-moving ones and begin slowing down themselves. Then an equivalent exchange occurs, and the temperature equalizes. But by default, the molecules move quite slowly until they're charged with energy. And at the same time, if you have a heated object, you will need more power to cool it. Yeah, it's a bit confusing. So let's go back to where the fun begins. Yes, if you go to absolute zero, you will freeze in seconds, because all your molecules will start to slow down. But what will happen to the body? Well, let's follow the internal adventures of Crash Dummy Bob. First, its blood vessels narrow in the coldest places. The body distributes blood from frozen areas to vital organs, like the liver, kidneys, heart, and brain. It's like emergency mode. The mannequin's body stores energy and blood for the most important, taking it away from less important areas. Then, a most dreadful thing begins. The body consists of billions of cells. When their molecules come into contact with a cold temperature, they slow down and freeze. Remember what happens to water in a frozen state? Remove the bottle from the freezer and let it defrost at room temperature. You'll see that the volume of liquid will decrease after a few hours, and when the water freezes, it increases in volume. And the human body is more than half made up of water. So, inside our mannequin, its cells get covered with sharp ice crystals that tear the internal structure of the cells. The muscles and blood vessels of the dummy are torn. Its skin gets a dark blue shade, and its blood freezes in its veins. A couple more seconds, and the dummy freezes completely. Absolute zero temperature stops all internal processes. Hey, Crash Dummy Bob said he wanted to chill, but this is ridiculous. Meanwhile, molecules are not only in living objects. Particles are everywhere, and absolute zero affects them too. The rays of light get the lowest energetic position. Photons slow down and they can't move at the speed of light anymore. Okay, now it's time to finish the experiment. Something's going wrong, and the story becomes fantastic and hypothetical. Scientists can set molecules in motion, and the neighboring moving particles don't give them their energy. For some reason, the gas can't absorb the energy. Its frozen molecules slow down the others. The gas penetrates through the walls of the vacuum room and starts a chain reaction. The molecules freeze one by one. It's like they take a nap and charge all the matter around with this sleep. The gas area is expanding. Laboratory walls, doors, and windows are frozen. Scientists are covered with ice. Then the cloud goes outside the building. It's like a white spot that keeps growing and growing. The sun's rays get there, but can't move inside too fast. The zero envelops grasses, trees, roads, and cars. Scientists begin to sound the alarm as soon as a whole city gets inside the absolute zero clouds. The stopping of moving molecules occurs so fast that ice crystals don't have time to damage the skin and body in living bodies. It's not even freezing, but canceling existing life. Oxygen and carbon dioxide molecules are frozen. The air gets denser. Here a guy freezes in a jump and remains in the air. Here a frozen bird continues to hang in the air. Things inside the cold air are similar to a 3D picture. Everything froze in motion. It's like someone took a screenshot of a lifetime and printed it. And while the cloud of absolute zero continues to spread, scientists are rushing to solve the problem. The gas is growing and diverging in all directions. If it swallows the whole Earth, it will stop all the chemical processes on our planet. And without these processes, our home will become just another space rock, a lifeless piece of matter stuck in time. However, the real catastrophe will happen not when it envelops the entire surface of the globe, but when it reaches the core of our planet. This can lead to the release of energy that will destroy the planet. Perhaps the core may resist the absolute zero, but in any case, people are not going to wait for this to happen. The cold gas meets a volcano. Lava flows emit a deafening hiss and freezes. Black clouds of steam billow into the air. The cold cloud penetrates into the volcano. The collision of cold and hot temperatures releases energy. The volcano erupts and launches not fireballs, but sharp icicles of frozen magma. Meanwhile, heavy rains are beginning to fall all over the planet. When warm air collides with cold air, it moves away because it has less density. The liquid appears in the atmosphere and it forms clouds. Therefore, while the giant cloud freezes one part of the planet, rain clouds drench the other. And now scientists have finally come up with a solution. They've created a gas with an altered molecular structure that can stop 0 Kelvin temperature. So imagine you're heating water. The stronger the water molecules increase their kinetic energy, the hotter the water becomes. The molecules are moving faster and faster, but not all particles move equally fast. Some of them have medium and slow energy. Moreover, the low energy state of the molecules is more likely. This means that only a few particles move really fast in hot water. This distribution of low and high charge particles is called the Boltzmann distribution. The distribution is everywhere, both in hot and cold objects. If we look at any object at the molecular level, we'll see that there are many more slow-moving objects than fast-moving ones. So, scientists have come up with a solution. They create a gas that works in the opposite direction. It has more moving molecules inside this gas than slow ones. Scientists hope that this gas will wake the sleeping particles up in the absolute zero cloud. So, two gases collide with each other. The cold cloud can't freeze the reverse Boltzmann distribution cloud. There are too many active molecules. So, billions of active molecules charge the frozen ones with energy. All the molecules start moving and share the neighboring ones with their energy. Objects inside the gas cloud begin to wake up. People are slowly coming to their senses. As soon as the molecules come into minimal motion, they start to receive energy from the sun's rays. The particle movement is distributed equally between the two gas clouds, and life returns to normal. The molecular order has been restored. Right. and our little fable here comes to a happy, if not entirely credible, end. Bottom line here, don't worry. Scientists created absolute zero artificially, and it'll never happen naturally. There's no such temperature anywhere in the universe. Particle movement remains even in space's farthest and darkest corners with record low temperatures. The appearance of absolute zero is impossible because there will always be molecules around that move and share their energy with each other. Oh, by the way, no humans, animals, or Crash Dummy Bob were harmed in the making of this video. Are the lawyers happy? Okay.
Hey there, Brightsiders. My name is Tom, and today I welcome you to have a peek into the future. Let's imagine it's your birthday and the entire family is here to celebrate. It's a nice group of 562 people. Perfect. It takes a village to put down 1,000 candles. You cook that 40-layer cake and build that house yourself. With the new average life expectancy, you have enough time to master any hobby in the world. This is no sci-fi plot. There is someone in the world today who will live to be 1,000 years old. It could be your neighbor's granddaughter, your best friend, or even you. Thanks to better nutrition, easily available clean water, and a huge progress in medical science, people are already living much longer today than they used to 150 years ago. Now scientists are trying to figure out a way to slow down, halt, or even reverse the aging process. One of the leading experts on aging, Aubrey de Grey, is positive humans can medically defeat it. Aubrey had a successful career in IT, then he fell in love with biology and decided to solve the aging problem. So he went back to Cambridge to earn a PhD in biology and later invested most of his inheritance in his project. Almost all living beings age, but they do that at different speeds and in different ways. Quahog clams can live for over 500 years. A female mayfly has a full life cycle of less than 5 minutes. Scientists have already managed to extend lifespans of yeast, worms, fruit flies, and small mammals thanks to genetic manipulation and stem cell therapy. All living beings are made of the same chemical building blocks, so similar strategies could work for humans. Dr. de Grey explains aging as a result of metabolism going wrong. He discovered only 7 types of possible causes of it. If scientists can learn to settle that molecular and cellular damage before it gets too dangerous, they could prevent people from aging. Dr. de Grey believes that we'll be able to solve these problems in mice and stop their aging in 10 years with stem cell therapy. When it's done, scientists would need another 15 years to find similar solutions for humans. Stem cells provide new cells for the body as it grows and can replace lost or damaged cells and tissues that your body wouldn't manage to cope with naturally. It's possible because they can divide over and over and over again. Plus, stem cells have all the genetic information and can turn into any other type of cell. Adult stem cells are already used to treat some conditions. There are technologies that, in theory, can take and relocate strands of DNA and add or remove DNA. It would be as complicated as taking 850 volumes of Shakespeare and editing just one certain letter. Changing DNA in the future can help preventing aging and extend life. With every round of therapy, the patient would get healthier with younger organs, nerves, and bones. Dr. de Grey explains, humans of today will unlikely invent a therapy to make you live to 1,000. But scientists can give humans an extra 30 years. It would mean some extra time for new research. New therapies could be invented then and give humans another 50 years. This way, step by step, humans would stay ahead of aging and someone living today can eventually celebrate their 1,000th birthday. The oldest officially confirmed age record for humans so far is 122 years. I sure hope my retirement plan would last that long. Don't want to be working at a fast food joint when I'm 370 years old. Well, anyway. Evolution has never stopped. Some scientists say it's been going up to 100 times faster over the past 10,000 years than ever before. The average body temperature has been going down with every decade for the past 200 years. In 1868, 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit was considered normal. Now, it's around 97.9 degrees. This happened thanks to progress in curing some infectious diseases that speeded up metabolism and made internal temperatures higher. It's also because people spend most of the time indoors with a nice cool climate now and don't need to make an effort to keep a natural body temperature. Over the last 150 years, the average height of an adult has grown by 4 inches. Humans also grew 14% heavier on average, some heavier than others. This became possible thanks to better nutrition, food, distribution, healthcare, and hygiene. Scientists are sure this trend will continue in the future. Taller and heavier people will need more calories, so this could be a problem. The genes are constantly changing too. Several thousand years ago, adults couldn't drink milk because a specific enzyme was turned off. When raising cattle became more popular, more and more people got the genes that control lactose tolerance. In India, a large group of vegetarians developed a mutation in one gene. It let them process certain fatty acids from non-meat sources and convert them into important nutrients for a healthy brain. People on a meat-based diet rarely have the gene. The bones are becoming weaker and less dense. This process started around 12,000 years ago along with farming. Diets and physical activity changed back then, and it made the human skeleton more fragile. This trend will likely go on as people are moving less and less these days. Some people who live in houseboats in Southeast Africa have developed larger spleens than their neighbors. This adaptation helps them stay underwater for a long time. They spend most of their lives fishing and collecting shellfish. In 100 years from now, people will get regular body upgrades, even if they don't need them for medical reasons. Some companies already produce mechanical exoskeletons to make factory workers more productive. There are also exoskeletons for skiers to make them faster. With the technology of the future, there will be more robotic limbs. They will mimic or replace certain organs and will let people live out their dreams. You'll be able to climb Mount Everest at 80 with bionic organs controlled from your smartphone. Okay, you'll get new senses as well. Technology will let you feel the seismic activity through sensors on your feet, hear color waves through an antenna in the skull, predict weather through gadgets in your ears, and have other senses you can only dream of now. This could make humans closer to nature than ever. Or not. Humans will outsource more of their cognitive abilities to gadgets. Most people already can't read maps because gadgets just tell them where to go. There will be brain-machine interfaces, and you'll be able to transfer your thoughts online and analyze them. You already do something similar to your steps and your calories with apps that track them. New apps will let you track how much attention you pay to a certain problem or analyze an argument with your partner in detail. Hey, no need for people skills anymore, right? It's possible that scientists will find a way to increase the diameter of the neurons in the brain. That would give you an incredible reaction time, a real-life slow-motion function when you need to. With genetic engineering, more humans will look alike to fit the general idea of being attractive. There will be strong lines, straight noses, beautiful bright eyes, and all facial features fitting the golden ratio and perfect left and right symmetry. The brains will continue to grow, so there will probably be larger foreheads and maybe larger eyebrows to go with that. As it is highly likely humans will start living on other planets, we have to adapt to their harsh conditions. Lungs would have to be redesigned to gather more oxygen in new atmospheres. Tissues would have to change too to filter the dangerous elements of these different atmospheres. The further away humans will move from the sun, the dimmer it would be, and the larger the eyes and pupils would have to become. It would let them absorb more sunlight. They'd also develop new features like low-light vision and a sideways blink to help protect the eyes from cosmic rays. In 1,000 years from now, computers will become more and more human. To somehow compete with them, humans will become more integrated with robots. Tiny nanobots will swim around your body to boost all your natural abilities. Humans will be able to record sounds and have built-in phones in their ears along with super hearing. They will also have super eyesight and super health in general, which sounds quite nice actually. Merging human minds with computers will give everyone super brains. You'll be able to do the most complex equations instantly. Search the web and pull up any fact in your mind. You won't need to type any messages. You'll communicate with others through electrical signals and direct thought transmission. Humans will be an interplanetary species. Mars is the most likely new place of residence. New humans born on Mars will be taller than anyone on Earth. The Earth's gravity is 3 times stronger than that of Mars. Out there, the fluid between vertebrae would extend, making spines longer. Humans will most likely become immortal. To make it possible, scientists will have to figure out how to download consciousness into a machine. They are already trying to transfer consciousness between animals right now. Well, I can't speak for you, but for me, that's a bit of a nightmare. Hey, they can keep their nanobots. I'll just keep sitting here, watching the clouds go by and enjoying the sunshine. Like they say, it's not about the number of years in your life, but the life in your years, right?